In my previous Plan With Me video, I mentioned that I joined the 6-week online writing program of Clarion West, which includes the 12-day write-a-thon that is happening from June 19 through the end of June. And I had two major goals when I started, which as I went along had changed. My original goals were number one, to write a short story for Deadlands, which has a June 22 deadline, and number two, to finish writing my novel by the end of June, which is when I said last January that I will finish it. And I was able to realize my first goal, which was to write and submit a short story for Deadlines. It took me 2 days to write the entire story from scratch. On the first day, June 19, I spent quite some time on the story, as you can see here on the tracking page of my planner. I stopped writing for the day at around 1,500 words. On the second day, I worked on the story a little bit more. Here are my little notes on it. I needed to compute how old a ghost would have to pretend to be to the government. And here was how my June 20 went. Here it is on the tracking page of my planner. And then at the end of the day, I stopped writing the short story at over 3,000 words. And at this point, this story was essentially already finished. Now let me just show you where I'm working from. This is the makeshift workplace that I have set up for myself inside the bedroom that I am currently using inside my parents' house. I do not stay in the gray room anymore, the one that's been renovated, and I will link the video of that room in the description box. I don't use that room anymore. I moved into this other room in December, and I now use that gray room as storage. This bedroom right now is a bit of a mess because this is not retrofit for my needs. So everything here is makeshift that I set up for my current needs. I made that light stand, by the way, the rectangular one. I have a video of that, which I will link down below. And I have two lamps that I use when I am just writing or reading. This task lamp and that light under the laptop stand that illuminates my full-sized keyboard. On top of the laptop stand is an external monitor. It's a very cheap television that I use as a monitor using an HDMI cable because my laptop has a problem with its LCD display. The LCD display on my laptop has lines on it that flicker and switch places. It strains the eyes and it makes it so hard for me to read certain lines. This one here that you can see doesn't look so bad at this moment, but sometimes it becomes very bad. See here when I'm watching a movie, it has lines on that too. This is CSI, by the way, the original series that started in the year 2000. I know I'm very late into that party. But on the external monitor, everything is fine. I can work uninterrupted for hours and hours because the computer itself, my laptop, has no problems at all. The LCD needs to be changed, but I cannot deal with it at the moment because the technician says he needs at least 3 days, and it also costs a pretty penny. I cannot deal with all of that, with all of my deadlines and all the things that I am dealing with. So for now, I'm just using this external monitor and I turn off the LCD display of my laptop. And then here is the keyboard and my planner. And then I have finally decided on the writing sprints and writing sessions that I wanted to join under the Clarion West 6-week online writing program. In my previous Plan With Me video, which I will link down below, I showed the classes that I have enlisted in without having enrolled yet in the writing sessions. Now here is how my planner looks with the writing sessions placed in. They are marked with these side reminder tabs right here because this signifies like a video conference. On this day there are two video calls. One is a class, one is a writing session. So there are two side reminder tabs with the same icons. So I will know at a glance that there will be two separate Zooms on that day. And it's just easier and more convenient for me this way. Information that is converted into a visual cue that is easy to understand. And the side reminder tabs are all lined up like so. Not a single one of them are covering any other tab for the week. As you can see here, for this week, I have 4 Zooms and 1 thing to pay for. On the week after that, I have 4 Zooms and 2 things to pay for. 1 Zoom on this day, and on this day, I have 1 Zoom, and this is the bill to pay, and so on and so forth. And these are all of the planner pages for the rest of the time that the Clarion West 6-week online writing program is ongoing, all the way until July 31. The classes are final, the writing sessions are final, and these things on my planner are final. And something really, really awesome happened on June 21. It is already almost midnight when I'm filming this, but I'm still up as per usual. Here are the things that I did for June 21. See, this is the day that I signed up for the writing sessions for Clarion West, and I placed them on my Google Calendar to figure out the Philippine time for those. And then I placed them in my planner as well that you saw just a moment ago. And I also thought that I forgot to enroll for the first semester of my university. I'm supposed to take a penalty course and defend my thesis, but turns out I wasn't late for enrollment at all. It wasn't the first semester yet, it is just the mid-year, and I am not required to enroll for mid-year, just for the regular semesters. So that was a bad scare, but it's all good now. And then later on that day, at exactly 9 minutes after 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I was actually out to run a couple of errands. I received an email. It was an offer from a publisher to publish my novel, The Maps of Camarines. I have been in touch with this publisher in January, and they did reply last April, and now I finally received their offer, to which I said yes. On June 22, early in the morning, I watched an online lecture about dramaturgical practices in the Philippines. It was very interesting. I learned a lot. And then after that, I prepared some of the things that my publisher for my novel wanted. Now, June 22 is the deadline for the short story to be submitted to Deadlands. So I edited what I have written 2 days prior, and then I polished the story, and the final draft stands at a little over 3,000 words, which is within the recommended word count limit. I submitted the story using their submission platform, and here is the acknowledgement that I received. It looks quite efficient. And by the way, here is the submission guidelines page of Deadlands. I am submitting short fiction, so my editor is E. Catherine Tolber. But looky here, Nikasha Reed is the editor for poetry. Nico was a classmate of mine under a graduate level fiction class in the University of the Philippines, Diliman, under Professor Ana Sanchez in 2019. I think it was an awesome class. I had a really great time, and I had really great classmates in that class, and they're all really very good writers. And then I decided to redo my schedule for working on my novel. Now, really, the first 10 chapters have already been written. Just the end parts of chapters 4, 7, and 9 need to be written and edited. And then the entire chapters 4 all the way through 9 need to be edited and polished. And then after that is done, I can proceed with writing chapters 10 through 15 from scratch. Well, not really from scratch because I already have plotline notes already, which I mentioned in a previous vlog, which I will link down below. But even though I said in January that I will finish writing the novel by June 30, the publisher is nevertheless asking me for a specific date in which the final manuscript will be submitted. So that means I can change that date, but not too far from June 30, not too far. Now that I know that I don't have to strictly finish by June 30, I can write the final 5 chapters of my novel at a better pace, at the pace that I know will allow me to think better because it's the pace that I have used before. So these are the sticky notes that I put on my Kanban board. I will link a video of that in the description box. And I have transferred all of the sticky notes into this single sheet of paper just for me to be able to see in a single view the work that needs to be done. And then from here on out, it's just a matter of transferring the sticky notes to the daily pages on my planner. And as per my planner, I can finish writing the rest of the novel by July 15. See, it's not so far away from June 30. As long as I keep to my daily quota of 1,667 words, which I rounded up to 1,700 words. Now, because I have discovered that I now have more time, I decided to add two more writing goals to the current time period. One more short story, which is quite doable, that is due on June 30, and one book-length work, which is going to be a bit of a stretch because I have to write it from scratch, and the deadline for that is July 31. I'm going to use the Clarion West writing sessions to help with those. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. And then for the rest of the night, I decided to read a novel. I've been meaning to read this novel for some time, but never really found the time because my schedule was so crammed. Like I keep saying, I'm always either busy or sick. And now that I am not sick, well, not seriously sick anyway, I've already revised my schedule to be not so busy. I can have the time to read this book. It's Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I have it here on my Kindle Touch, the same one that just turned a decade old. I have a video about this very same Kindle on my channel, which I will link down below. I have my little iced coffee, the lamps that are on are just the light on the Kindle case, this light over my keyboard, and this task lamp over here. I have a very weird sleeping pattern. I get sleepy usually when it's already mid-morning, so that's when I sleep. And I usually get around 8 hours of sleep a day. It's pretty decent. It's pretty decent. I do need a decent amount of sleep if I am to write well, and I no longer complain about when I am getting to sleep. All I care about is that I get enough of it. And turns out this sleeping pattern that I have is compatible with the classes and writing sessions that I have signed up for with Clarion West. So for now, it's all working out. And I really am enjoying reading this novel. I really like it. Over here, I have my index cards of ideas that suddenly spring to my mind while I am reading. And whenever I read anything, I also take notes as well. Here are my notes already on the second page, and here's the first page of my notes. And here is the disc-bound notebook that I have made out of 3x5 index cards. This is where these come from, and I will put these back on the notebook when I am done so that all of my ideas and random thoughts will be corralled together into this one little fat notebook. I started reading at 8:40 in the evening, and then I took a break for an hour to grab something to eat from the kitchen. And then it's really just me reading all the way to the next morning.